This meeting is being recorded.
Hey everybody, welcome to NC-17. My name is Josh, and the man that's sitting with us needs no introduction, but I'm going to attempt one anyway. We have multi-talented, very versatile, an awesome dude. We got Tim Hale with us. How you doing today, buddy?
Hey, Josh. Thank you for having me. I'm splendiferous. No complaints, only gratitude. And before we started here, I was digging your setup back there. You have a really cool curated collection. Whereabouts are you located? I would love to come dig in someday, see what you got over there.
Roseville, Michigan.
Oh, okay, cool. Our neighbor up north.
Yep. This is just one wall. It's all the walls. uh, yeah, I love horror movies, so yeah, it's my passion anyway. But
ditto.
Oh yeah. So before we get into the movies and all the fun stuff, kind of take us back as a child. Was this what you wanted to always do, or was you always getting into shenanigans even as a child?
Yeah, I've been a ham so long, it's surprised I'm not actually a pig. Because legitimately, ever since seeing the original monster movies when I was a kid, I think one of my first favorites, or one of the first I'd rather been exposed to, was Young Frankenstein. And then that led me down the classic Frankenstein rabbit hole, and then I found Dracula, Wolfman, the Mummy, all the Universals. I just tried to commute as much as I could. And then it led to the Hammer films, and I was pretty much strictly monsters and stuff for a better chunk of my life. It took me later to teenage years where I got into the slasher films and everything. And yeah, it's a big, beautiful world of horror out there. But so the same as that's kind of, I feel like my heart's always been this one way or the other.
Oh yeah. Uh, so getting into when you first started getting your feet wet into the industry, what was your first couple times on set? What was your feeling, and was you nervous and stuff like that?
Set not so much because yeah, I've like I said, when I've always been a performer, and when you talk about shenanigans as a kid, my favorite game when I was younger was not really to play with any of my action figures. Sure, I'd get inspiration from them art wise, but then I would just take the character, put it in my head, and then I call the game what I called imagination. So I would just be enacting out all these plot lines of Frankenstein versus Dracula, all this and the intricate nonsense that just went on forever. And so I've always been acting out stuff and reciting the lines of my favorite movies. And so that pretty much came naturally to me once I hit theater in high school. And then even, I took some time in college to go to school for hospitality management. But as I was finishing up my degree, my buddy Joe Yost, shout out Joe Yost, who's down in Atlanta now, he hit me up and he said, "Hey, I'm transferring from engineering to film, and I know this is really what you want to do too. You interested in checking it out?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know what, I am." So, a couple years after high school, I was back into it, but then on the film side of things instead of the stage. Though I'm making a return to the stage this year, which I'm stoked for. But yeah. So being on set, but definitely sure, being on set is nerve wracking for a while as you get used to the whole setup, because you're being called on at any given moment, the classic adage of hurry up and wait. So you're being called upon, hey, remember that thing you've been preparing for, and now you have to do out of order. And when we say, and it's okay, yeah, sure, I've got it all here. Just pull it up. So, but yeah, and then just getting used to the camera being there, and then having your audience instead of being a theater audience, being your your coworkers, so to speak. That's different because they're an audience, but they're not an audience. So you're really what are you really playing to? You're playing to the people that are going to see it later, but you're at the same time you're not really trying to play to anybody. You're trying to just be in the moment and be just with your other co-stars. But it feels weird having that camera there.
Oh yeah. So my first the first thing I've seen you in was Brimstone Incorporated.
Oh, Mama's Boy, baby.
Yes, that whole movie was good, and James Edwards has been on a couple times. Phenomenal dude, awesome director.
Love Lon.
Oh yeah, the thing about your character in this one was, well, explain it in your words how the character came across for you.
I love that was your introduction to me, because that was honestly I felt like it was part of like an era that really I felt like I was doing better work in terms of just getting into better productions and just really finding some really solid collaborators, and also kind of finding a bit of my footing more. And I owe a lot of that to Lonnie, because he's super cool, really great guy to work with in like every way. And I love that he's like an actor's director, because he's an actor first. So so often, especially you'll get certain directors that are really good with like telling a story and putting the pieces together, but sometimes they're just I don't know. The point about Lonnie is what I liked is he would ask questions. He'd be like, "Hey, so what were you thinking about the background between you guys?" And or my thoughts, asking me questions about Justin, my character in Brimstone. And I just really like that, because a lot of times people just kind of they hire you to do what they know you can do, and then they kind of just leave you to it. But I like when you get banter and feedback, and really playing into the imagination of it is what this makes this really fun. Like some of my favorite moments in any role that I do are things that maybe the audience does or doesn't pick up on. Maybe they're just psychological, but if there's something in a scene that adds truth, adds groundedness, adds reality, even if it's just for me, it's like, oh, cool, because you're just like you're really digging in.
Oh yeah. You got a very like large filmography, which is awesome, because that means you're doing a lot of work and you're getting yourself out there. The second thing I saw you in was St. Patrick's Day: The Slua Awakens.
Yes, very timely film.
I love that movie. Like I rate my movies 1 to 10. That movie automatically got a 10 right watching it from the get go. I mean, I love zombies, so zombies and fairies and like all that folklore and everything, and then you throw in all the acting. I mean, your character Pierce, come on. I mean, I'm like, yep. Being on that set, what was it like performing with all the other people and just like the zombie people?
Well, I'll say first off, I really, appreciate your kind words, and I'm, just very grateful to everybody that I've worked with, because when you're an act, like, sure, I've, produced and directed things on my own, and that's great, but the biggest body of my work is acting, and you only have your collaborators to really thank for it, because they help flesh the vision out, and I get to play a part in it. So it's been a great ride, and with that though, the ride leading the Slua was amazing, because or riding into Slua, because it was quite a journey in terms of, like you said, you've got all the folklore, you've got the demons, the sort of zombie demon hybrid that the Slua take. And what I thought was cool about that is you don't really hear a lot about like Gaelic Irish mythology, and so it's really untapped subject matter for film. So the fact that Eddie took that and ran with it, and we got to do our spin on it, tied in with St. Patrick's Day, which you don't really see any. I don't know what kind of St. Patrick's Day horror movies do you know of? I don't think I know of any.
Leprechaun.
Well, duh, of course. How am I? Oh my God, Leprechaun. You want to hear about that? That really goes back. That movie was probably responsible for me being alive, because it was my parents' first date. At the drive-in, and my mom didn't even watch most of it because she wasn't digging it. So she went and like smoked cigarettes just out, and then my dad like caught up with her later, and it worked out. But she stuck around, so it's cool. But then too, I remember seeing that movie as a kid, but I was barely old enough to be like walk. My dad's holding me up, and he shows me the cover of Leprechaun 2, and he's like, "Hey, bud, you want to watch a movie about bad guys?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then I don't remember what happens. I remember being scared, and then I remember my mom holding me and going, "What the fuck, John? Why'd you let him watch that? What the fuck?"
Oh yeah.
And then just so obsessed with Leprechaun as a kid, because the makeup is incredible. It's so creepy, downright dirty. And then Warwick Davis, he's so maniacal and has so much fun eating that role alive. And then how ridiculous the movies get. Have you ever seen part 4 where he's in space?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy. He throws the head at the guy, or the tray at the guy's head, and he gets that big flattened out like pizza head.
Oh yeah.
those movies are wild. And honestly, I think they all hold up, even through both of the Hood sequels, because I think they're just not they're solid movies. Honestly, they're entertaining, good cast, and I think it all goes back to Warwick Davis, as he is just the master. I didn't see the Returns though that was supposedly a direct sequel from the first one, but it didn't have him. Did you see that one?
Yeah,
How
it
was
was all
that
right.
one?
It was all right. I could have gone without it, but on the same hand, I get why they wanted to make a direct sequel to it. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I still gotta check that out. I think it's cool they got somebody who could do a Jennifer Aniston impersonation to do that voiceover. I did hear the voiceover clip, and they did sound just like her. So
oh yeah,
kudos to whoever that was.
oh
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm over here plugging Leprechaun. I should be plugging Sluwa, but Sluwa was a lot of fun though. It took us a while to film, and we had to overcome some serious obstacles with it because there was a time where the footage was lost. We had shot a bunch of stuff, and the footage was lost for the better part of a year. And then we got it recovered, thank God. But then when we got recovered, some of it was a little glitchy, so we kind of had to reshape the story and reshoot stuff. But that's the kind of thing, though, is film is a team sport, and you have to be adaptive. So you just roll with it and then make creative solutions happen. And so yeah, we made it happen, and it took us about 4 or 5 years in total to get that done between various shoot. And plus, that was COVID. COVID came up in the middle of that, so that's obviously a score record stop. But yeah, we got out there and it was stoked. It was a lot of fun. My character Pierce, it was fun. He was a great guy, but then again, well, he was silly. But I don't know. I was basically just playing a shade of myself in that one, like. So it wasn't a very far stretch of character, but it was fun.
Oh yeah. Actually, the lady who played this Slua Queen, Morgan Ziva, she's been on the show before too. Yeah, she's phenomenal. But everybody, like I said, the whole cast did great, and my favorite part is the people you thought were going to be safe. Yep, real quick. So,
Uh-huh.
uh,
That's the thing. It kept moving. There were twists and turns, and it kept moving.
oh yeah, the ending was definitely surprising, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But on the same hand, it was like as surprising as it was like you kind of got the feeling that okay, there's something that's going to happen, and then just the way it ended, it was like it ended kind of like how the stand started. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes,
uh,
very fun.
the next thing I saw you in was Killer Camp Out 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I'll just real quick, I'd be remiss if before we move down, though, if I just give a quick shout out to my co-stars in SLUA, Morgan Page, Quinn. Oh man, so many people. Roger, so many great people. Sorry, I'm big on shout outs, but
Oh no,
yes,
you're
Killer
good.
Camp Out. I'll jump to that because that film very near and dear to my heart because that was even though I'd worked with Brad sort of. By the way, I totally cut you off. My apologies.
No, you're good.
Brad, having worked with him in a couple anthologies, both being a part of Brimstone, both being part of Frames of Fear 3, they hadn't met yet, hadn't directly worked with each other. That was the start of the kindling, and I love Brad, so that was just my little love letter to him. But please go on.
So Killer Camp Out 2, on a whim, I was like, you know what? I seen part 1. I have to watch part 2. So as watching part 2, I'm like, there's so many different aspects to every single character, but there was one thing that was a constant. You got laid a lot in that movie.
Yeah, trust me, when Brad pitched me the script, I was like, holy hell, you got the guy that does a lot of drugs, gets laid a lot, and plays guitar. Not bad. I'll take it.
Oh yeah.
And it's so weird that Craig is the goofiest guy in that cast. That you would have thought that Bruce's character or somebody would have been the one to be getting all the girls, but it's just the truth. They like goofy guys. Isn't that right, Christina? She's here.
Oh, she could come on if she wants.
Hey, babe, come say hi.
Okay. Just real quick. I don't take over too much. Hi.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good. How you doing, Josh?
We're having a blast.
Awesome. Here. Have fun.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
So for Killer Camp Out Part 2, it was everything a horror movie needed, but it was also everything a comedy needed. If that makes sense.
That Really, thank you so much, because you're actually the first person I'm really getting to talk to in person that's seen it, because only I've talked to people online. And that does my heart really good, because that was one thing I really felt in the making of this movie. Is I was like, this is a horror film, but I feel like this is a buddy comedy as much as it is, because I feel like we all had such great chemistry that it really, like, I don't know, it's what brings it home. Because you can either watch a movie about a bunch of people getting killed in the woods, or you can watch a film about like this group of people you have fun hanging out with getting butchered, and you're like, no, like, and I don't know, I'm biased because I was in it, but the fact that you just said it had had the comedy, that does my heart so good, because I feel like that's a strong suit of the film.
Oh yeah. Some really outrageous kills. I would have to say though, yours probably gets it the worst. Everyone else gets
Yeah,
a cut or
really
something, but and that's the first thing you guys had to film, wasn't it?
No, it was not quite the first, but it was nearer to the beginning for sure. And that was so cool though, because shout out, Daniel Brooks and co. They built this outhouse that I had to be in, and um, which was really comforting for me too, by the way, because when I have a bit of toilet ick, like I won't even put a book on the back of my own toilet and then pick it back up. Like nothing touches the toilet, okay? So when I read that I have to be in an outhouse, I'm like, oh God, what kind of hills have eyes? Wrong turn outhouse am I gonna have to sit in? What's it gonna smell like? Are there snakes? Are there spiders? And no, brand new, fresh, clean, made just for Tim Hale outhouse. So I was very comfortable sitting in there.
uh, so being on that set and reading the script and just being with, like some of your closest people you've probably worked with and continue to work with, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Justin. That dude is awesome.
Oh, Justin Kendall Martin, one of the most talented actors I've ever seen. And I'm saying that as like somebody that has to be there with him on set, that I get to be there and see him do his thing. And, it's cool. Like, he's somebody that will not make you break character, but if you're offset watching him and he's improvising, it's very hard to contain yourself. Like on Crackoon, oh my God, I had to like shake the bush a lot when he and Denny are getting attacked, and he's doing his thing. And there were a few takes where that bush left and Brad had to call cut, but that's all right.
The thing of, all right, so this is meant to be like a compliment and the utmost respect. My wife don't get these kinds of movies.
Mm-hmm.
She watches them. Well, if they're comedy horror, she watches them. If they're straight horror, she don't watch them. But she was like, the way you portrayed them, she was like, I hope you are never, like that. I was like, oh, you shouldn't have said that. So now every time I'm messing with her, I'm like, how am I going to do it today? So you gave me inspiration to annoy my wife. So thank you.
Hey, if I could be the jester that interjects a little whimsy in anybody's life, then I've done my job.
I've actually seen Killer Camp Out a couple times, and first time is always for pure entertainment. Second time is to see what I missed. And then I'm not gonna lie, every time after that's for more entertainment. But the thing about it is, watching it the second time, I noticed I could be wrong and correct me if I am, but I noticed a little bit more nuances of like throwbacks to other characters that you have portrayed just differently.
Mm-hmm.
And like Mama's Boy. I saw, when you were playing the guitar and stuff like that, I was like, that's something he would do in Mama's Boy.
Yes.
So, I mean, but to me, that speaks volumes on you, because you're like, I'm going to draw inspiration from everything I've done. So in doing that, I mean, like, do you purposely do that, or does it just come naturally?
It's a little bit of both, because so I really appreciate that, by the way, that you picked up on that, because so for me, it's sort of like when you act, you're always pulling from different shades of your own human experience, shades of human experience you see out in the wild. Like sometimes you see somebody that's very much a character, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna kind of borrow some of you for something someday. I don't know what. I'm just gonna kind of remember what your essence is and use it. But then we all have things in common too. So sometimes different traits in different people do come out through different people. So same with characters. And then, frankly, I've been, it's kind of funny. I guess a good handful of times I have been cast as various shades of myself or versions of myself. So obviously those things are going to come through. And frankly, there was a lot of Tim, Hale, and Craig. So the wild, because typically I feel like I'm the kind of guy. So that wasn't very hard to be Craig. But at the same time, making sure you had the energy always, because he was the battery usually in a lot of scenes in terms of just so just making sure I was upbeat and well rested. But yeah, I definitely love to kind of throw things in there because I definitely, it's funny you say Justin and Mama's Boy like having a guitar flavor because in like my backstory for him, I always saw him as having musicianship to him because his mom was such a shelter and take care of and really want her boy to do well kind of type that she would always supply him with various activities and extracurriculars he wanted to pursue, even if he didn't want to pursue them for very long. So kudos to for you for your extrapolation. Like, I don't know if anybody can get that deep. That's freaking
rad. So Killer Campout 2 was a phenomenal movie, but we got to talk about Craig Coon.
Oh, yes, sir. Number 2 on Screenbox for weeks straight.
It's first, kudos to everyone in this movie, top to bottom, phenomenal. And I heard there was so many outtakes of like what happened with you that the Jeepers Creepers, he took my peepers line was what they ended up with. Oh, please do tell some of the lines you said.
Oh man, I was like, I think at one point I was like, look out. And another time I think I said like, hindsight is always 20/20. And you're like, oh god, what was another one? It said something about oh man, I definitely know Jeepers Creepers took my piece on the book. One was like, come on, little buddy, give me a chance. Like just pleading, and then a lot of eye puns, and that another one was, I didn't see that coming. Just always playing on always puns with me.
Oh yeah. Again, I'm gonna say I'm gonna reference another movie, but the scene with you and Malam, that was kind of reminiscent of American Psycho. Just the way you were portraying it, I was like, this motherfucker is killing it right now. So, I mean, you did a good job.
Yes, absolutely. That was absolutely the inspiration. And Carlos was a goofy character too, and he was kind of like up his own ass. And had that Bateman. And American Psycho was one of my favorite movies. Like Christian Bale's performance, Willem Dafoe's, like the whole movie as a whole is just so good. So definitely had to channel that. Was doing again another silly sex scene. But it's like, a good thing with those is I like that Brad doesn't put me in like serious ones. Like they're always ones made for comedy. Because that was actually hopping back to Killer Campout 2 for a second. Like that was one of my like apprehensions before because I had like never really an intimate scene of that nature. And like, when I got to Killer Campout Part 2, you want to talk about something we shot early on that was like crazy. I get there Friday night and it was just supposed to be, oh, Tim Hale, you're going to chill. We'll start filming tomorrow. Well, then it turned out to be, hey, we're ready to go. We're ahead of schedule. You want to film tonight? Yeah, sure. What do you want to film? Like, all right, let's film the sex scenes. I was like, what? I'm just getting to know everybody. Like, we got to build up rapport. And luckily, in that time that I had already been there, Kristen and Yasmin and Rosaria, like Shonda, we already built up our rapport, like while chatting. And then I like to keep things light and just joke and, keep it fun because that's going to come across on screen. And so same. And like Morgan and I have worked together multiple times. And so we have rapport. And then so she would give me ideas. And I think we all came up with the idea for me to like do the Bateman and Brad was cooking some stuff. And it was a very silly, hilarious scene to film.
Oh yeah.
And it was funny. So, and like, how I have my underwear on during that. That's one of the biggest feedbacks I've gotten from family and friends that have seen this. Like,
oh yeah.
what's your underwear? Why'd you have your underwear on? And somebody joked, like, what, did they not pay you enough? And no, that was just another one of those things where we thought it would be sillier in the scene, if Carlos was wearing his underwear while everybody else is, Morgan's naked. Like it makes it more absurd and plays up, the insanity that is Krakoon.
Oh yeah. So let's go back to Killer Campout for a second, because there was so many different aspects to like every character in this movie, but it kind of seems like that in every scene, it wasn't someone trying to steal or upstage. It was always we're gonna nail this and we're gonna make it good and we're gonna. It's like you guys were enjoying what you were doing, but to a point to where it kind of got to a point where it was like your brothers and sisters just hanging out.
100%. I'm glad you pick up on that chemistry because that's what it was. If this was probably every film or play or whatever you do is always an ensemble piece technically, but this one really felt like that. Yeah, it was the most supportive cast and crew like I'd ever worked with because it did feel like we're all just ratcheting up, trying to create the best scene. Everybody chipping in their ideas, and nobody was trying to outact each other. This was very much like a bunch of giving, selfless actors, and we're all like treated it more of like an improv group kind of session because that's what's one of my things about working with Brad is Shop Brad Twig is he's so open and encourages improvisation. And like there's times where, people in Cleveland will be like, all right, Tim Hill, we've had enough. And Brad's like, more. And I'm like, all right, fine, you got it.
Oh, yeah.
And same with the cat, everybody on Killer Cat. I mean, talk about between Bruce and Kristen, Rosaria, and all of them, like just always adding something. Shout out Kay Leahy, you had Kay on recently, and we're all just always making something, making it wild, or making it, just trying to as impactful as we can for whatever the script calls for.
Oh yeah. The best part in I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for nobody else. But the best part about watching movies is you get invested in these characters. And as much as you're getting invested in these characters, some of them are going to start getting picked off. You don't know what order, you don't know when it's going to happen. But when it does happen, now it's like, well, damn, that's who I wanted to live. But there's always that one person, the least expected person that always somehow manages to make it, you know? And but with Killer Campout, they kind of leave it open ended because of how it ends. I don't want to ruin it for nobody. So I'm kind of like, you don't necessarily see everyone die, but you do hear everyone die. So I'm kind of like, what's going on here? But my thing is the way you guys like acted in that movie to me. This is a big compliment. My favorite movie of all time is Return of the Living Dead. This is right there with that. So at least in my opinion.
Wow, especially coming from a film of that caliber, you want to talk about a classic. And shout out John Russo, who that kind of ties into Krakoon and talking about Return of the Living Dead. Is I met John Russo at one of the Night of the Living Dead festivals a few years back. He was super cool. Bought his book Scare Tactics on how to make indie horror movies, and he was a super cool guy. But then, like, having to, even though I didn't share any scenes with him in Krakoon, the fact that he is acting in Krakoon, and I'm in it as well. It's like, holy snaps, I get to say I'm in a movie with John Russo. And I mean, that man is a straight up legend.
Oh yeah. I've had the opportunity to meet him a couple times up here in Michigan because he goes to Motor City Nightmares. So that if you guys ever get a chance to go to that convention to like vend there or sell your movie or anything, I strongly recommend it because it's not huge like Days of the Dead or anything like that, but it is probably the most popular horror convention here in Michigan.
Typically, what months does it run?
It's the last weekend of July every year.
Oh, okay, dude. So that's coming up. Okay.
Yeah, and me and my wife have we go there we stay the whole weekend. So
So I'm jotting that down because that sounds good.
Oh yeah. Is I mean, so being in the independent films, I mean, I say it in every interview. I don't know how many you've seen, but to me, independent film is where it's at. It's like to me, independent film has gone to the A list while Hollywood has gone to the B list, at least in my opinion.
No, I would completely agree because that's where the innovation is these days, and actually creative original ideas. That's why I'm so thankful for like how Amazon and Tubi put a lot of people's stuff up because I get exposed to films that I wouldn't normally get to otherwise, and of course YouTube. I love watching. I love watching the features on Amazon and Tubi, but I like watching the shorts on YouTube too. And I think it's really important too to find shorts that are not even affiliated with people that I know. Like obviously I want to support everybody I know stuff, but I like to find stuff from across out there because when I put something out, I hope Joe Schmo, whoever finds it and watches it and likes it, So if I come across somebody else's, it's like, oh, like God, I saw this Valentine's Day one that was really entertaining and it had this really weird doll. I can't remember the name of it, but that was super cool. But anyhow, I agree. Indie is where it's at, and the fact that people, I think, really kind of rejected a lot of the mainstream stuff as a whole because of its lack of creativity and its uptick in creeptivity, and they're like, "Hey, we'd rather support original content from people that are real people. They're not creeps." So, yeah, and with as good technology and knowledge as you can get at your fingertips these days, it really shrunk that whole like, can imagine like, if in the 60s or 70s making an indie film was a real hurdlesome task. Now you can knock it out and get it distributed like fairly easily.
Oh yeah. Uh, let's go back to Raccoon for a minute. Some very inventive kills, some very
Mm-hmm.
imaginative stuff there. I loved it. Like Raccoon, to me, Killer Campout and Raccoon are probably two of the best movies I've seen this year. So uh, there was a lot going on in that movie, but one of the best parts to me was the CGI raccoon walking away on the beach. Just because I was
Yes.
like, it is so like I've talked to other people from the movie. They say the same thing. And I'm like, after watching it multiple times, I'm past 20 now. That's not a lie. It gets to a point to where it's like now I'm looking forward to like little things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So with going from Killer Camp Out to Raccoon, that transition, albeit probably not too difficult, but was there anything that was like, okay, this is a little bit more crazier than this one, or was it pretty much just the same level?
No, definitely Raccoon. We turned all the knobs to 11. Like, I thought we did that with Killer Camp Out Part 2, which, we did, I think, for like a camp slasher. We definitely turned it up to 11. Because, we had the really cool twist, and Jerome absolutely nailed it as our slasher, as Gene Blackwell. And Justin, I mean, you get to see a real transformative experience from him out there. There's a twist involving him I won't give away, but, he's a guy that could really channel. And the night we were filming the climax, that guy was like super sick and he was like seeing stars and getting tunnel vision, but we didn't know till after the scene. He's like, whoa, I'm feeling weird. We're like, whoa! But hey, he powered through and he still lives to this day. But and Raccoon, anyways, yeah, we channeled it up to 11. Because when you have a title like that, people are gonna expect I'm gonna be on a roller coaster ride. You can't pussyfoot it. And
Oh yeah.
and I really think we went there with the kills and with Alan Carnes' amazing puppets. Oh my God, we had 4 Raccoons in total, and just how great they looked. And I like the bits of CGI, like you said, because I don't know, they add that life, and it doesn't look bad, and it adds to the camp factor. Because again, people are looking for a bit of camp when they hear Raccoon, you know.
Oh yeah. But the whole premise of that movie, I mean, it made so much sense once you started watching it.
Mm.
And it kind of was reminiscent to me a little bit of like Zombieverse. But
Yes.
I think a lot more vicious than Zombievers because just Morgan Malam's death scene was like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some moments where you're like, holy hell, I was just laughing, now I'm in horror. Yeah, absolutely. Like, even, it got dark with shout out Chris Ridings and Wisteria Shaw. Their scene is pretty kind of lighthearted and silly, and so like, oh my god, this has just gotten really dark, like very quickly.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, and oh my god, and then even the tone that we get to set off with that movie with Denny, hey house, shout out Chris O'Braki, Olan and Carly, and they set it up where it gets serious, it starts off silly, but then gets serious real quick. And I think that's one of the fun things about the ride of Crackoon is we would push and pull, tension and release.
Oh yeah. Chris O'Braki is actually going to be a guest on the show next week or the week after. Yeah.
Yes. You'll enjoy that one.
All right. So let's talk about this for a minute because there was one particular thing that happened that kind of like instantly made this movie go from a 5 for me to a 10, and it is the least unexpected thing. When Justin and Chris's characters got pulled over by the cops.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite scenes too. You don't expect how it goes.
Oh yeah, I'm sitting there thinking like, all right, you threw the bag out. What are you gonna do now? And then all of a sudden, the cops are all, like, what are you doing? Blah blah blah. And then he's like, oh, we're going here, and then the other cop was like, oh, send pictures. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? But it made sense,
Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead. Hey, I'm a fly in the ointment. This is your show, bro.
No, actually, this is the NC-17 podcast with Josh Wynn, so I'll hit you with your show. But I appreciate you sharing the stage. I was just gonna say real quick, kind of like in a way harkens back to the original Last House on the Left, where you have these brutal murders happening, and all of a sudden you have these slapstick bumbling cops, like just side by side in the same universe. And so I think Crackoon kind of has a bit of that as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but just like every single character who got 187 unalived, killed, whatever you want to call it, it was like they got every single one was different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially Jessa Flux.
Yeah,
I'm like, when that happened, I was like, okay, she's not gonna make it too much longer.
Yeah, no, the Crackoon, it comes for everybody across the countryside, you best believe. And I agree, and see, that's the cool thing though, is when you use, a drug-fueled rabid raccoon as your killer, they're not carrying around a machete. So they find a bunch of ingenious ways to get around, use those, one of my favorite things about raccoons in real life is the little hands, but devious when they're clawed up and drug-fueled. And yeah, he certainly put him to work. Or like you said, Morgan's death was woof. But yeah, he gets everybody. Or even the way that when he's with Jethro and what's the other guy's name? Stephen Cletus. I can't remember the scene, but played by the great Jimmy Lee and Stephen Kieslowski. He even causes somebody to get their head blown off with a shotgun, So he like Cocaine Bear, you're like, okay, obviously this could kill a lot of people, but Crackoon can equal your body count.
Oh yeah,
if not exceed, actually.
It was kind of like, I have a little inside joke with my wife. It's like Crackoon to me is what the Terminator is to her, because she, she watches Terminator and she's like, are they ever going to be able to kill it? And I'm like, you don't know what's going to happen with the Crackoon until the end of the movie. So, but
yeah. And
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was following your lead there because it's true. You don't know what's going to happen until the end of the movie.
But that is not the only movie you have that has the word crack in it. You got Cracula.
That is right. You, my life's work.
I want to say that's probably a different character that you've played. and it kind of pays homage to your childhood because you grew up with Dracula and all them. But the way I just saw the trailer, like a couple times, more than a couple, but a couple times, there is a factor when you're on screen that no one can look away. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Just having the ability to make movies with my friends is, that's the be all end all. We get to play pretend, but it matters in a way, and give people, provide the type of entertainment that we enjoy. And with Cracula, yeah, that was a total dream come true. Like, the biggest shout out to each and everybody that made that possible. Starting with Brad and going into Chris Ridings and Michelle Bowser and Landon and Jonah and Roy and Christina and Shonda and Hunter and Chad. Oh my God, Chaddy. Shout out Chad Critelli. Oh man, so many people all over the board of that movie. Like, because, Brad had the idea that he wanted to make Cracula. And when he hit me up to write, I was just floored. I'm like, dude, really? Like, I'd written short films, but this is going to be my first feature. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. Thank you. Like, dude, Cracula, like, holy shit. Like, my first feature, I get to write a Dracula movie. And on a concept that surprisingly nobody in the world is taken up on yet. Like, if you Google it, we're the only Cracula. And it's like, holy hell, we get to be the Cracula. And then when it got to work out that, because I wasn't even slated to be Dracula at first. We had somebody else previously cast, and last minute they weren't able to do it. I wrote myself in as Chad's character as Reese, which is like the Renfield of the operation. I wrote myself into that, and I was going to play him like Cricket from Always Sunny. I was going to be like, hey, master, like real, like that. And I was excited to do it. I was going to shave like patches in my head, like just be real gross and dirty. But then when it worked out that Brad was like, hey, Tim, I think you're the person for Dracula. I was like, because I didn't think I'd get to play Dracula until I was older, because Dracula is usually, if you don't play him hot, young, and sexy, he's usually like a middle-aged man, or at least like in his 40s or something. Or he's always got like an older demeanor, if not even being really old, like the way he's written in the book. I thought I wouldn't get to play him for years, but I was waiting for that chance, and then when this came along, and it's like, oh my God. So I didn't even write the movie with myself in mind. So if any of that dialogue you hear was written to be heard out of another actor, and then I got to make it my own, which surprisingly enough, just because you wrote something doesn't mean you know all the dialogue offhand. I still study my lines just as much as anybody else, if not more, because pressure's on. And even though I'm super excited for this movie in every way, I'm still like, this is probably, you talk about being nervous on set, or like, you think about like watching yourself. I'm usually never that nervous to watch myself. Usually I'm excited because I want to see the production as a whole, and, oh, hey, I guess I was in it, or, oh, maybe that was funny or whatever. But this is the only one where I'm really like, because same, like, people know me for Monsters, and like you just said, and it's like, oh God, they're judging me. They're judging my Dracula, like, but at the same time, they got to realize we're not going anywhere they've ever seen before with the character of Dracula or with the story. Like, we are going off the rails of Cracula. And like, honestly, if you thought Crackoon, we took it to 11, I think then Cracula, we took it to like a 6-6-16, because like, this movie is absolutely bonkers. There's like, our vampires are mutated, and a lot of very interesting mutations, I'll say. And there's a lot of blood, and it's very hammy, it's very cartoony. Oh, like, I don't know. I'm very curious to see what you think of this one, Josh. Very curious. Tell me about give me one or two of your favorite vampire or Dracula films. Or shows, whatever you got. Give me a vampire you really like.
Lost Boys. I like the Lost Boys.
One of my all-time favorite movies, bro. They do it so good.
Oh yeah. But I have to say my. Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that was perfect. Go ahead. You were gonna say
my favorite vampire movie of all times, and I'm kind of partial to it just because I love like a lot of violent movies. John Carpenter's Vampires.
Oh, thank you, Josh. Yes, nobody gives that movie enough love. That is one of my all-time favorites as well. Like Valak and that, played by Ian Michael Griffith, and Heaven. That the whole tone of that movie is great. It's got some light humorous moments, but it's super serious. Great spin on vampires. I've never seen that spin on it before.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the soundtrack too. Great soundtrack, but John Carpenter movies usually do have a good soundtrack. But no, I agree. Vampires is awesome. Like that's one of my favorites since I was a kid. Like so good. Right. It's so bloody. Like when he that motel room scene, bro.
Yes. I was like, so here's the thing. When that movie came out, my mom, who passed away in 2009, but she and my other brother went to go see something else, and I was like, well, I really want to see Vampires. I was the only person in the whole theater, and I was like, this is gonna be awesome, So if I do get scared, no one's gonna see. Luckily, I didn't get scared. But I mean, let's go to that, that hotel room scene. I mean, just what kind of vampire? First off, you cannot enter a building without being invited. They broke rules in this one.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment he opened that door and I was like, best ever.
Yeah. I mean, you've never seen he was kind of one of the first overpowered vampires you've seen in media. Like nowadays, I feel like the overpowered vampire is very easy to see. True Blood, or kind of like anything you see, they're always have super speed and they're running around and hacking and slashing and doing all this. Before that, it was still very much like gothic, creepy, or whatever. I mean, granted, Lost Boys were pretty. Actually, no, I'd say the Lost Boys were pretty powerful. Like, I love the way that they flew, and oh man, the whole Death by Stereo, that scene.
Oh yeah,
and yeah. I was like, oh my god, dude, Lost Boys is so good. Or garlic didn't work, boys. Try holy water, breath. Like,
oh yeah.
Oh my god, Max. Actually, so get this. Have you ever gone to Creature Feature Horror Convention over in Gettysburg, PA?
Not yet.
Oh, it's really sick. You gotta get to check it out sometime. It's going on next weekend. Actually, Chris O'Brocki, myself, and Christina are attending next weekend. And it's a good time, but they're actually going to have the 3 cast members from Fright Night. They're going to have William Ragsdale, Stephen Jeffries, and Amanda Bierce.
Oh yeah,
I do a live commentary of Fright Night on Friday.
Oh yeah, Fright Night. See, all right, I'm weird. I feel like I'm just talking to one of my friends now, but I'm weird. Oh yeah, I have a favorite top 10 favorite movies of every genre, but I also have a Hall of Fame. And see, Fright Night, I will never say is my favorite vampire movie ever because it's in my Hall of Fame, and once it gets up there, nothing's ever going to touch it. I've been lucky enough to meet the 3 of them, and they are awesome people. And Evil Ed, that dude is awesome, man.
Dude, he's great. He really is. He's honestly the highlight of Fright Night for me. Just such an entertaining character, good and evil, both versions of him. And how about 976 Evil? You see him in that?
Yes. Excellent movie.
Dude, I love 976 Evil. Robert Englund's directorial debut. I think that's a really fun, solid movie.
Very underrated.
I would agree. Some people I don't know, the concept of you call up a horoscope line that's run by a demon and he invokes this power. And I'll never actually, so talk about movies. Okay, I'll ask you a question here in a second, but when I was young, I'll never forget, I stumbled onto my mom had a VHS or a Betamax, and I'll never forget, it was the cover of 976 Evil. So it was, Evil Ed standing with that flashlight, and he's like, and I was like, oh, let's just pop this in. And I'll never forget him going, this is a dead man's hand. Like, and then so I remember when I was older, I was constantly trying to like find movies that I had found in my mom's collection, but couldn't remember what they were because I didn't know the titles because I was young. And when I found 976 Evil, I was like, holy shit, this is the movie. And it totally lived up. It's so fun. And so I'm really excited. That's cool. That's rad. You met them. And I like your rating system, by the way, that you have a Hall of Fame and then like top movies, because that would definitely allow me to make my ratings more easier by just declaring the Hall of Fame. So I'm going to steal that from you. How many do you put in the Hall of Fame, or you just get to just put some up there, no quantificated numbers needed?
Right now there's literally like 7 movies in my well, 8 movies in my Hall of Fame. And they vary, Return of the Living Dead, obviously. Fright Night. I did put a movie, independent movie called Flesh in my Hall of Fame. Mother Shuckers in my Hall of Fame. The Godfather. And can't have actually The Godfather Part 2.
Ah, there you go. I've always heard that one's better. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh yeah. And then Scarface. And then the other ones are just ones that are kind of from when I was a child. So we're not going to mention those because I like a horror shows.
Dig it.
But I also have like my Hall of Fame for actors and actresses. Now that's very few, because in order to make it into a Hall of Fame for me, you can't have just a one-hit wonder. You have to have 1, 2, 3. You yourself, no BS, and you can ask my wife. I'll bring her down here. She won't get on camera though because she's shy. You are in my Hall of Fame.
Josh, you're talking to my heartstrings. You're BSing me. You're laying that hoe sugar on.
No, the reason you're in my Hall of Fame is I've seen you be serious. I've seen you be comedy. I've seen you die. I've seen you do every single emotion you can have known to human, and you've nailed every single part. Like God's honest truth.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. Like that's all we're here to. That's all I'm here to do is, I don't know. I'm talking weird. Apparently, I'm possessed. No, but really, that's all I'm here to do is, enjoy this, experience of acting, put stuff on screen, and the cool thing about it is, it's like to be an actor is really just to indulge in being human as much as possible. Or, I mean, I guess if you play other characters like a demon, which I played. Oh, get this, Josh! I played a demon yesterday in a film called Bowling Alley of Death. Yes.
I swear I was about to ask you about that because it says it right there at the top of this list.
Yep. That was a lot of fun. Shout out Matthew Mark Hunter and co. So him let me to flex my my demon side with that was really cool. And but sorry to get back to the actor thing. It's just flexing, learning as much as you can and trying to experience stuff, internalize it, and then externalize it, and ultimately be entertaining. So thank you so much. I really dig and appreciate that.
You're most welcome. And I'll just name one other actor that's in my Hall of Fame so you know what kind of caliber you're up there with. Bill Paxton.
Oh my God, dude. Bill, you want to talk about somebody with a repertoire? And as I knock stuff over on my desk. Talking about somebody with a repertoire. I miss Bill, man. I wish we still get to have him around for more movies, because you talk about someone that could always elevate anything they were in. That was Bill Paxton.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I want to take a moment, because we're kind of nearing the end here. I want to take a moment and kind of just pay the respect to you, because of the body of work you have is extensive, and people can watch you in any way, shape, or form, whether it be demon, vampire, nerdy camp guy, or just anything and everything. But the one character to me that's always going to stand out, I don't care what anyone says, is Mama's Boy, because that was my introduction to you. So, and that makes, like I said, you're a Hall of Fame actor, so you're up there. You're in my Hall of Fame anyway.
I'm truly humbled. Thank you. And, Justin was cool. And I love the whole Brimstone concept, like Brimstone Incorporated, because originally Lonnie had just pitched me the solo story I was in, Mama's Boy, and I liked it because Justin was a complex character in terms of what he had going on. Like he was in a horror film, but really he wasn't even directly involved with the horror so much. Like, I mean, he eventually got to be. But once Lonnie tied it all in for me and let me know in the full picture of what Brimstone is and how I worked into, the wraparound for the various segments. And then when I got to see the other segments put together, First Date and Skunkweed, shout out Brad and Rick. It was just that movie's a ride. And see, that's one thing that I think is cool about Lonnie is he puts out films that are like he puts so much drama into a horror film, or like so much complexity or nuance. Like her name is Krista. Her name was Krista, rather. That's like, I mean, I love the way he describes it. He told me his tagline was, "It's the notebook for necrophiles." But, and that's honestly why he had a problem trying to sell it to some distributors that were, weren't open minded because they're like, well, we were looking for like a straight up like horror film, but it's like it's complex and it has horrific moments, but it's got drama, it has actual emotions, it has real story happening. And so I like that he writes complex tales, and Brimstone, while being definitely a horror movie, mistake you me not, I mean, you've seen, but I think it does have shades of other things going on, more complex stuff. And actually, shout out to him as we're getting ready to work on Satan's Peak here in a little bit.
Yeah. So to kind of piggyback off what you just said is like, so I saw Her Name Was Krista. Excellent movie. I saw Brimstone. Excellent movie. In my opinion, like I got all the stories. I mean, every story kind of lined up with each other, but it was like each story had a different emotion. Mama's Boy had the emotion of heart, at least in my opinion. And like First Date it had the emotion of, like, well, you're not gonna fuck me over because I'm gonna fuck you over. And that's exactly what happened. But I mean, all in all, it's like, as a fan, I like to see actors and actresses, directors, writers do what they love, but make me love what they do. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And like it just kept going and going. And every film I saw that you've been in, that Christina's been in, because I just watched Hollow Road with Christina.
Yes. Yeah, Holland Road Massacre, baby.
Oh yeah, that was an excellent movie. I'm actually going to be doing a review of that probably tomorrow night. And there's just things that you guys do for me as a fan that makes me feel like, damn, that could be my best friend, my brother, my sister, and that's the kind of kinship I like to have with my movies. Not to sound like a stalker, but
oh man, I know what you feel, because that's what movies are for us. Like it's something you bring into your home and you also get brought into, like 100%.
Oh yeah, it's people like you and Justin and Brad and just everybody who's involved with the independent scene right now. And there's countless others I can name, but we'll be here until 10:30 or longer. But it's movies that you guys do that make fans like me enjoy. You gave me a reinvested enjoyment in entertainment. Because I've seen so many Marvel movies. I'm like, I mean, Marvel's cool, but you killed off all my favorite characters. Now I don't need to watch it. But it's oh yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's
yeah.
The movies you guys do touches like it hits hard every time, whether it be comedy, horror, drama. I don't watch too much romance, but I get enough of that in the horror, which is cool for me, especially in the movies you're in. But it's just I want to thank you for putting out good. I want to thank you for putting out good entertainment. So,
hey, thank you, and I'm happy to be part of all these films that get to provide that. And honestly, like same, where I'm this ecosystem, and then getting to go to premieres of other films, even films I'm not in, but I'm with you. Where the indie stuff, man, that's what it's for. And I really appreciate your support, though. And like anytime I meet people at conventions, or obviously we're also convention attendees and visiting the booths of other filmmakers and stuff. like the fact that we have this ecosystem, this community, and it's alive and well, like that's special because you just feel like you're in an exclusive club, and it really is. I mean, sure, we're trying to get the word out to other people, but at the same time, like if you got your people, then you've got everything you need.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we are nearing the end, so I'm going to give you the floor to plug all your socials, where people go watch your movies, buy your movies, reach out to you if you want them to or not. That's up to you. And just kind of where people can get the enjoyment of what you do.
Oh, hey, thanks. Well, my first plug will be my butt plug. No, I'm kidding. No.
That was funny.
So a couple things you can catch right now. Speaking of films we talked about, you probably are intrigued if you haven't even already seen them. People on the screen seeing us via Josh's channel, NC-17. Check out Crackoon and Killer Campout Part 2. They're both on Amazon Prime. St. Patrick's Day Sluagh Awakens, also Amazon Prime, also Tubi. You can catch a plague film I'm in called 1699 on Amazon Prime. Geez, I really need to get better at remembering where all the stuff I'm in is at, because that would have helped. But hey, start with the recents, folks, and then I'll claw you through my backlog. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram as Tim_the_gentleman, and or you can follow me on Facebook that way as well. And be on the lookout. We're going to premiere Cracula in the fall, and then we're going to get that on the distro. So very excited for that. Hey, Josh, I'll let you know if you ever want to take a trip down to Cleveland. That's where we're going to be premiering it. So once we have our date set, I'll get you the date and everything works out. Maybe you stop on down, because either way, I would like to make it up to Days of the Dead to meet you, because that would be super cool.
Oh yeah. Oh shoot. Hey, you let me know. I'll make for damn sure I'm there.
All right. But so yeah, that's most of the skinny of things catch me in and where to reach me. We're filming T-Rexorcist. That's the next big bad boy we're filming. That is up here in Cleveland. Got a lot of great things going on for that. We've got master animator Brett Piper. We've got Brad Twig directing. John Kilo have written it. Christina's starring in it. Rosaria, Chatty, Fred Munkachi, Laura Allen. Oh, we have so many people, but we're very excited for that. We're going to have stop motion animation for the Gator, or the Gator. Sorry, I'm still thinking we're filming Crocodile for some reason. No, T-Rexorcist.
But that is another one coming out, Crocodile.
Yes. So many films, and I'll even say so much time, because I like to believe in the abundance of time in life. I don't like thinking life is short. I mean, yeah, you could probably think it is and whatever, but I don't want to think limited. I just want to keep doing stuff and pretend life gets longer.
Oh yeah. Well, Tim, I want to thank you for coming on. It's been a blast. I felt like I've been talking to my brother. So, that's a good thing, because I don't talk to a lot of my family. But anyhow, no, it's been a blast. You've been a complete and utter rock star. And you're more than welcome on this show anytime. Anytime you want to come on, whether it be to plug a movie, plug jokes, or even to say you got a booger in your nose. I clean it out every day, though. So
I definitely love to come on someday, though, and just like shoot the shit with you about a bunch of movies. And I don't know, maybe we figure out a theme or something, but I think that would be cool. I like your views on movies, like your conversational style, all that jazz, and we'll keep the combos up going. And yeah, I really can't wait to meet you in person.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to give you the distinct honor that I've only given a couple people. You get to close out the show today.
Well, friends, stay spooky, stay silly, stay fun, stay positive, because we're all making great things together, whether it's the moment we're in, whether it's in real life or in a movie. So, boom, thanks for tuning in to NC-17 with Josh Wynn.
All right. Thank you. All right. Everyone stay NC-17.
See you guys. Take care. Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome.